Hi Rick, today I'm going to present my presentation for the final assignment, and for the final assignment my topic is violence. Let's get started. First we will move to the Excel part. So this is my raw data set. I took this data set from data.world, and this data set is about violence created because of shootings in the United States. You can see this is my raw data set. It has a lot of empty values and a lot of variables that I don't need. So after cleaning and looking at what variables I need, I created my cleansed data set, which is this one. So you can see there are no empty values, there are no extra variables. Now, for this assignment, we needed to make two pivot tables. So for the first pivot table, I took this table. So in this table, I considered race. So I wanted to see which race is more involved in violence, creating more violence, or is more involved in shootings, as I can see. When I made this chart, I got to know that, the white people have created more violence. So the victims involved in the shootings of white people are maximum, and the on the second number it is black people. The ones those are like least involved are Middle Eastern. The race is Middle Eastern, and this is what this particular chart analyzed, and I think it's helpful. So we move to the next pivot table. To the next pivot table, I consider a location type, which is I had six locations in my data set. The which one was airport, military areas, other locations, really religious places, school, workplace. So when I made the table, I got to know that the locations that is the other locations are more prone to shootings or violence. The other locations can be any location. It can be other than these five. It can be a mall, it can be a grocery store, it can be someone's residence even. It can be any location, even on roads. Shootings happen on roads as well, in open. So the maximum were at the locations which were other locations, and the second was on the second place with one number difference was a school and workplace. So on the school and workplace, there were like almost equal uh, victims that became victims of shootings. And I was not very happy to see that the shootings have been happening at schools as well. Children today are not even safe in schools. And then we can see that airports are more most safe places. Of course, maybe because of the high security reasons, it's not very easy to make such an incident there. So yes, so this is what I analyzed from this pivot table. So these were my two pivot tables. Now when we will move to the next section of the assignment, that is the Jupyter notebook. So let's start with this. Now, of course, first of all, I imported all my libraries. I imported all of them. I didn't use all of them, but I just imported all of them in case. So the next command is obviously I downloaded my data set for like cleaning and analysis as well. So in this section also, like I downloaded my raw data set and I cleansed it, and then I did a little visualization and use some basic commands. So the next command is I display all my rows in data. So using this command, what happened is when I use this command and I call my data set, which is shootings, I named it as shootings. Uh, this slider just comes, right? And I can see every row of my data set. If I don't use this command, I don't see each and every row. So, this is the use of this command. So now next I see the info of my data set. So it gives me all the infos, how many columns I have. I have total of 26 columns, which are a lot. So I don't need all of them. I will delete some, and then of course move further. So in the next step, the cleaning starts. So I first of all delete the unnecessary columns from the data set, which is I think the first step when working with the data set, that what you don't need, just delete. So by using this command shootings.drop, and I write all the columns that I don't need, and using this command, and then I call my dataset, and I see that all the columns that I wrote above are not there. They are just deleted. So after that, what I do is I can see, the empty places, as this is a raw data set and need to clean. So this has empty values as hyphens, and yeah, I need to clean them. So what I did in the next command is I replaced all my empty values with none values. First, I will replace them with none, and then I drop the none values. So that's how I clean it. So I use this command shootings.replace. So I replaced all my hyphens with nones, and then I call my dataset. I call my dataset every time I use any command so that I can see what changes it has made. And now you can see wherever you could see hyphens, there are none values now, right? None. True. So this is an interesting command. Now I drop this. So I now, of course, columns I have already kept whatever variables I needed. I cannot delete any more column. I need all those columns, but of course the rows which have no values or is not fitting with the values, I will either fill them or I will just drop them. So I drop all those rows with none values for a clean data set. So I use this command, and when I run this command, you can see there is no empty value in the data set now. There is no none value in the data set now, and there's only columns that I need. So it is all clean. So my data set is all clean. You can just, right? It's clean. So in the next command, I again run the info command to see the info of my newly cleaned data set, and now you can see that there are changes. Firstly, there were 26 columns, only 17, and now the entries are also less because I dropped the rows. And now I run the commands head and tail on my new clean data set. It is there. Now I run the command describe, which shows me the summary of my data set. That is the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, all these. Now in next command, I view my selected columns in dataset. So I selected a shooting type should be mass shooting, and the gender involved should be male. I want to see that particular information, and I use this head first 8 values. So when I run this, I get this information. So I just get males and the shooting type mass, so it shows me that information. Now I display total size and sum of any category I can take by using group by command. So I grouped it by state. So shootings dot group by state and size and sum. So we can see in Arizona there happened only one shooting. Maximum shootings were in the state of California. California is not safe. And then next is Florida, right? And it shows me that only. And then there are Texas. So this shows me the size, and of course later on the sum. So this is my right. So this command, and then I again imported some in case my visuals don't get disturbed. So my first visual is a bar chart, and this bar chart is I have tried to show total victims year by year. So when I run this command and I get this visual. So you can see that in 2017 there were highest victims that got hurt in these shootings, and the graph like the chart is up and down, up and down. But in these years, like these 16, 17, 18, these years, it was, you know it was maximum. So this was my first visual. And now the second visual is by iPlot. In this, I have taken shooters depending on age, what age of people are more involved in violence. So I use this command, shootings, age of shooter, iPlot, and by running this command, I I got this. So it will clearly show me the statistics. So I can see the maximum people who are involved in shootings or violence. These are the people from age 25 to 29. And the second highest is between age 20 to 24, right? And then the third highest is from 35 to 39. There are very few people in this. There were only one person involved in the age from 10 to 14, and in this age is also it is very less. So this was my two visuals in Jupyter Notebook. I hope you like it. Now we move to the Tableau part. So we first of all load our data set in Tableau, and then this is my first visual. So this is my first visual, and I used a map, and I named it which states are safe to live. And of course, California is not the one because I can see a lot of dots here. Of course, there are places like North Dakota, South Dakota. There's no violence. There's no shooting. Violence might be there, but like in terms of shootings, there is no shootings. So the places filled with more dots are more prone areas or states that are like uh places with violence. I can see that these areas are more prone than these areas they're filled with. So in this, when I click on a dot, like for example here, I get a location. So so this particular shooting happened in location Fresno, California. The summary is there, and that what was the case about, who did it, why did it. So I think it's interesting to know, like in one visual I can get to know a lot of things. Now moving on to the second visual. So violence shown by specific race. So when I made this one, I of course we discussed it in the pivot table also, that the people with race white are more involved in violence, and the second is black, and then the other, then there are Asians, and the least are Middle Eastern people. So this was my second visual about. So we have to be more safe from white people, I guess. So my the third visual is about the shootings happening in mass and spree to the location type. So we can see in this visual that when I talk about mass shootings are happening at all the locations, but the spree are very less. They are in just other locations, workplace and school. They are not at all the locations. So mass shootings are more likely to happen, and more likely to happen at the other locations. As I said previously, that other locations are more prone to shootings and violence, and the second is workplace and school. And the third are religious and military. Airports are safe. So if someone is like, am I safe at airport? You're totally safe at airport. If you're not safe is maybe grocery store or your own home, maybe. So moving to the next visual, my next visual is I compared like total of from total, I compared fatal versus wound. This particular visual clearly give me the statistics of fatals and wounded victims. For example, I want to know in a year, for example, say this is the year and this is the year 2007. So in 2007, how many were total victims? So out of total victims, how many were like fatals? So 54 were fatals and wounded were 32, right? So this is helpful. Now the next factor is the violence done by more males or females, and this is very clear. The maximum violence is done by males. Most of the shooters were males, and this is very clear by this. I want you to take all the factors. The next factor is did they had mental illness before, like they had signs. So yes, they had signs of mental illness, and 50% were yes, 50% were no. So moving to the so this is my dashboard. I hope you like it. This dashboard have all the information one needs to know about the shooting happened, with the race, the mental illness, the done by male, female victims, wounded. Also, with one click, I can know the details of shooting. Shooting happened at Washington, D.C., was done by a black, mental illness, location was military. So this was all. Thank you, Rick. Thank you so much. I hope you like it.